I think TMS heard what I had to say the other day, because this episode was abundantly pleasant. This one was very chill. Very little in the ways of emotional gut punches like there have been the last few weeks. This one was very chill. This one was very calm. There's no crying. Everything was totally fine. There was an abundance of aww, a lot of those moments. But overall, it was a lot more easygoing on the old heart, which, TMS, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But with that said, everybody, hello! Welcome back to our weekly Fruits Basket Season 2 discussion video. Today we're here to talk all about episode 17, You Will, I'm Sure of It. And before we get into the video proper, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, do it, do the thing. If you hit that subscribe button, did you know, fun fact, Yuki and Kyo will personally show up to your door and say thank you for subbing to JoJo Talks Too Much. This is an actual fact, definitely not making that up. Especially if you ring that bell, Tohru goes with them. Definitely not lying. Anyway, let's go ahead and start the video. So, as I said, I really needed this week's episode. I felt like Fruits Basket was purposely trying to kill me week by week, so I kind of just needed an episode that was calm and cool and collected, even though it's still tugging on the heartstrings, but it's not in the same way that it has been. This week's episode is much more of a, warming your heart as opposed to trying to smash it with a hammer. This one is a lot more aw, look at the couples. And keep that in mind, because I learned something about maple leaves that, as a Canadian, I'm shocked I didn't know about. It's a fun little colloquialism that I will share with you towards the end of the video because it'll make more sense to talk about it there. Now that said, as usual, we're going to be going through this thing scene by scene, moment by moment, adorable ship by adorable ship, and yes, I do mean ships, plural. There is quite a few this week. And again, once we get to that metaphor about maple leaves, it will make a hell of a lot more sense. But that said, it is Fruits Basket, so ships are sort of abundant everywhere. Part of the fun of Fruits Basket is shipping everybody with everybody. Now that said, this episode starts in a bamboo forest, and I was sort of mystified, because I was like, oh, that's peculiar, why are we starting in a bamboo forest? Actually, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure Kyo is in a bamboo forest in the ED, unless I'm wrong, in which case, whoops, ignore what I just said. But it's oh, bamboo forest, that's neat, and then I was wondering, why? Right? Because I was like, why are they in a bamboo forest? Are there forests in and about where they are? I don't remember where we said the city is that they live in, but and then it all sort of clicked, and I was like, oh, right, Kyoto. I completely forgot. I legitimately forgot that the Kyoto trip was even coming up, and in fairness, so did everybody else. Well, not Yuki. Yuki, of course, remembered, because Yuki's a very clever and intelligent young lad. But Tohru and Kyo most certainly did. And you know what? If I'm relating to Tohru and Kyo, I suppose that is, at the end of the day, a good thing, because they be good characters. But yeah, Tohru and Kyo completely forgot about the trip, and Kyo basically says, I forgot because I didn't even want to go. But Tohru forgot mostly just because of the crazy amount of crap that's been going on for poor Tohru. She's been in just a world of confusion lately. So it's fair that Tohru definitely forgot about the trip. And the two have a similar reaction. They're both sort of shocked that they forgot, but Kyo is more shocked that he forgot and then is sort of annoyed because he didn't even really want to go. Whereas Tohru is so oh my god, I have to go pack, ah! And then I love that Tohru, without even flinching, the first real sentence that she says outside of blah, da, 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 Tohru when she's stuttering, the first proper sentence she gets out is, hey Shigure, do you want any souvenirs? And I'm like, god damn it, Tohru, you're so sweet. Just the fact that again, Tohru doesn't think about herself first. It's not, oh my god, I have to pack, it's, oh my god, do you want any souvenirs? And it's oh, that's so nice. And yeah, I don't know, it's just, Tohru's just the friggin' sweetest, isn't she? She's the best. And I love that Shigure, of course, is just no, don't worry about me, but yeah, you guys should probably get packed, and Kyo, you better start getting ready to go, my boy. And he sort of gives him the nod, and then Kyo is upset by this, and he's I wish I were old and I didn't have to go to this trip. And Shigure is Kyo! And I thought he was gonna be upset that he called him old, but instead he's no, Kyo, you have to go on the trip. Trips to Kyoto, trips anywhere. Think of the romance, the relationships. And he starts going crazy. And then Tohru's wait, what did he mean by that? What's going on? Huh? What? And Yuki and Kyo are just let's just leave Shigure to his business. Let's just get a move on. And in fairness, yeah, Shigure is something, I mean, my man do be like that sometimes, but he's my husbando, so Riz Riz, my dude be constantly on his Loki shit. And right here, it's just like, I swear, this man, again, he has his master plans, but he still wants them, to be happy, especially since it'll, like, long-term probably help his plans if they get together anyway. But still, makes sense. It was a fun Shigure scene. And it's fun, too, because when we get to this point, we see, like, Uo and Hana mention that they should come back as a trio sometime. And it's like, oh, that'd be really sweet. I would actually like an episode of, like, Tohru and Uo and Hana, like, making another trip to Kyoto. Just cause. Like, just cause. Like, because they're fun characters, and I want to see what they get up to in Kyoto. But the three of them sort of remark, like, yeah, it's too crowded. Like, there's too many other, like, students here. It'd be nice to just sort of go on our own. And then they can't help but notice that some of the couples from their class are starting to get together. And it's like, oh, like, and their classmates, who are hilarious in this week's episode, by the way. Like, the classmates, it's the same two dudes that sort of hover around Kyo. And they're fine. Like, they don't really have much character in most other episodes. But in this episode, they are really, really funny. Like, any other time, I'd be like, they're fine characters. They're sort of just there. But this week, they were hilarious, dude. Like we'll get to it. But they're the ones who point out, like, man, everybody's, like, pairing up. Like, what the hell's going on? And one of them remarks, like, yeah, it's kind of what happens on trips. Like people just start to sort of pair up. Something about the atmosphere. I don't know what it is. But Tohru and Hana notice this, and they sort of look over at Uo, who is clearly thinking about Kureno. Because Uo's like, confessions, huh? Like, and she just sort of has that look. And it breaks my heart, because I'm like, man, Kureno, call this girl back, damn it. Like, my girl deserves a call back. It's Uo and Kureno. Like, that ship is really growing on me. And I appreciated that Tohru says, like, I still haven't told Uo that I found Kureno and gave him her info. Mostly because, like, yeah, it technically isn't any of Toru's business, but it absolutely is, because that's her best friend. So, like, well, not her best friend. She has two best friends, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, it's her friend, and she's going to be there for her and maybe do some stuff that maybe Uo wouldn't have appreciated in the moment, but probably would appreciate if Kureno eventually calls. But yeah, like, I appreciated that they gave them that scene. We also see the Yuki fan club again for the first time in a while. I will note, though, that the queen of the Yuki fan club, I didn't see her, unless I was mistaken. I'm showing the screenshot now, so if she's there and I just didn't notice, I'm gonna look like a big fool. But I mean, like, what else is new, really? It'd be me. You guys know me. I'm kind of not the most intelligent dude in the fruits basket sphere. But yeah, I'm trying. But yeah, the fan club reemerges. And it's been a hot minute. And honestly, like, I used to hate them, but I kind of miss them. I was like, where have you guys been? They're such good, like, comedic foils, you know? So it's like, yeah, you guys, like, especially considering the fact that people are pairing up. And even Uo points out, like, it's weird that we haven't seen them. And then we find out that they're sort of, like, shadowing Yuki from afar, just sort of, like, keeping an eye on him to make sure everything's all good. So if one of them can confess, none of them can. So basically, they're just sort of spying on our boy in the distance. And honestly, like I said, I kind of missed them. I kind of missed them, and I don't know how to feel about that. But it was nice to see them sort of check in. This is mostly like the episode for the school characters, because, like, you know, you got the Soma characters, you got like the extended family characters like Toru's family, and then you got like the school characters, you know, characters like the Kyo's two friends, the student council, the Yuki fan club. So it was nice to see them show up again. Another neat thing is when they sort of get some space away, and Tohru says to Yuki, like, where's Kyo? Like, Tohru notices that you know, Kyo's not there. And Yuki's like, yeah, somebody came and pulled him away. Don't freak out, though. He won't accept. And I'm thinking, like, he won't accept? What does he won't accept mean? Oh, that's not good. Because right away I was like, oh, that's gonna put Tohru in some kind, like, put Tohru in her feelings a little bit. That's gonna make her feel some kind of way. And unless I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong, yeah, that's literally what's happening. Because we cut to the next scene, and Kyo is being asked out by some girl. I'm not super sure who that was supposed to be, but yeah, and she asked this man out, and he goes, I don't even know your name. And she's like, you can learn my name. It's like, bruh. Like, and it's, in fairness, like, this girl asking Kyo out without even caring that Kyo doesn't know her name is like a little bit cringy. But like not in terms of writing. Like I can believe that a character would do that because I mean it's Kyo. I mean it's cringy for her to be doing that. But yeah, she like puts Kyo in this position where he ends up having to like reject her pretty harshly because she's not taking no for an answer. And he just straight up is like, I'm not interested. I don't know you like that. I don't even care about you like that. I don't know you. I don't care to know you. Don't touch me. Go away. Because she reaches out for him. He's like, hey, do not, like, hands off the merchandise. Like, straight up is like, do not touch me. Like, don't go near me. I don't know you like that. And I was kind of shocked because I was like, damn, Kyo, that's cold. But it did kind of remind me of, like, season 1 Kyo, where I'm like, this boy is angsty. You know what I mean? Like, that Kyo is still in there, but I think it only further shows, like, how much of an effect Tohru has on Kyo, that Kyo can still sort of snap back into, like, that angsty, like, get away from me Kyo that we knew from, like, way back. But the fact that Tohru has sort of mellowed him out so that when she's around, he's a lot more calm, that really says something about her impact on him, just as, like, you know, just not even as a, like, a romantic interest, just even as, like, a person in his life. It's impressive. But then you add the romantic interest part to it, and then that relationship gets all the more exciting. But that said, this is where the two classmates show up, and again, as I said earlier, it is hilarious. They are far and away two of the funniest characters in the episode, which is shocking to me. The funniest character in the episode is our boy Thief. Kahuru is far and away, like, the funniest character in the episode, but the two, like, Kyo's two buddies from school, close second. Like, they were really, really funny in this scene, basically telling Kyo, like, you can't talk to her like that. Like, you can't reject her that coldly. Like, why'd you gotta say it like that, my boy? Like, that was too harsh. That was unnecessary. Kyo, what the hell? And Kyo's like, I didn't ask to be popular. And they're like, I wish I could say that. It's like, oh my god, these two are ridiculous. But even the girl is ridiculous, because again, like, the girl asking out Kyo without Kyo even knowing her name, but then turning to Uo, and first of all, the balls, the non-existent balls, to the metaphorical balls, to tell Uo, like, oh, you're just here to get in the way, is like, wow. like that's brave. I'm shocked Uo didn't friggin' just karate chop this chick in the eyes. But yeah, Uo is told that she's trying to stop this rando, like, Little Miss Rando here, from getting in the way of her relationship with Kyo. And Uo and Kyo have this moment where they just, like, laugh, because they're like, and it's like a hearty laugh, like, where they're just like, are you? And then they immediately scream at this girl, like, are you serious? It's legitimately, like, one of the funniest scenes in this episode, and it's an episode full of funny scenes. It's an episode that is full of, like, good, solid, like, old school season 1 humor, you know what I mean? Like, the drama of the last few episodes has been intense. You still have the season 1 humor. Like the humor from season 1 hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been less emphasized as opposed to the more dramatic stuff that's been going on in season 2, which, in fairness, I appreciate, because again, y'all know me, I like my comedy in small doses, but this had me laughing out loud. Like, this was legitimately the funniest scene in a very funny episode. But that is then followed by Kyo refusing to tell Tohru what happened. Like, he just said, it's none of your business. And this gets him, like, a swift, and I mean, like, swift and brutal chop from Yuki, who just says, like, you colossal idiot, like, you dumbass. And he says it in such a way that, like, because normally Kyo would be like, ah, like, you know, like, Kyo gets angry, right? Like, it sort of, like, steps to Yuki, but he says it, like, Yuki says it with such ice that it even puts, like, Kyo on his heels. Like, he was like, whoa, like, all right, relax. Jeez, you know, like, he says it with, like, a lot of fervor, and even Hana's like, yeah, that was a good comeback, that was good. Like, even Hana's like, yeah, he deserved that time, because basically everybody can tell, you know what I mean? Like, if you're still in the Yuki Tohru ship, listen, like, you have my condolences, because even the characters in the show at this point are like, this is gonna happen. Like, Kyo and Kyoru is gonna happen at this point, and so the characters are just sort of, like, acknowledging this. And so when Kyo says some dumb shit, the characters get angry with him, because rightfully so. Like, don't say it's none of your business like that, Kyo, because first of all, Yes, it is. And second of all, you're gonna make her feel bad, and you know you're gonna make her feel bad, so don't be dumb, like, my boy. Like, I love you, Kyo, but come on, man. Like, I feel like everybody in that moment was like, Kyo, like, everybody from people who ship Kyoru to people who ship Yuki Tohru. Like, everybody was like, Kyo, goddammit. Like, why would you say it like that? You're gonna hurt her feelings. And in fact, he does hurt her feelings. Like, Tohru says, like, her heart was aching when he said that, in the same way that her heart was aching when he said that when you find somebody, he'll be there to help you, that he'll be there to help her out. And in that scene on the roof, that scene that I said, like, why would you say that? Like, that scene is, it's confirmed now that totally broke Toru's heart. It's the reason why she cried. And she knows that broke her heart, but she's not super clear as to why. And in fairness, like, I get it, like, you know, they're still trying to figure out their feelings, but this does lead to one of the sweetest moments of the episode, and if not the sweetest. Like, if the scene with Uo and Kyo was the funniest, the scene with Tohru and Kyo is the sweetest, and that is her finding Kyo after losing the others. And so she's like, basically, it's we find out that she's like, you know, she's shopping for souvenirs. She kind of gets lost from everybody, and when she looks over, she finds Kyo sitting close by, just to make sure that she doesn't get totally lost. And as she finds him, there's this cat sitting on Kyo's lap. Now, we know that cats sort of, you know, they take an interest to Kyo because he's got the cat zodiac. So they sort of like find their way to him, right? And when Tohru shows up, she says, like, is this your friend? And Kyo's like, come on, like, don't be ridiculous, this is my friend. And the cat, like, reaches up and scratches Kyo, which I was like, god damn. And the cat says, like, how dare you talk to other girls, like, and blah, 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 I'm going back to my hometown. And I was like, did that cat just talk? Like, that was weird. But, I mean, she talks in, like, nyan, 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 like, you know, like the usual, like, nyan type of chit-chat that you see from cats and, like, other anime. But she scurries off, and Kyo basically just sort of dismisses the cat, like, without even a second thought, and walks past Tohru, because Tohru's like, should we go get it? And he's like, no, it's not a big deal, let's just move on. And Tohru sees this, and for some friggin' reason, gets sort of, like, emotional about the cat, and says, will he let go of me someday in the same way? And then I was like, no, show, please don't. Like, 'cause I could feel my heart breaking. I was like, no, show, please. But thankfully, the show does not go there. And, like, Tohru panics, right? Just the idea of Kyo leaving her puts her in a state where she just reaches, like, she, like, turns around real swiftly and reaches out and grabs the back of his school jacket and just sort of, like, latches on to him. Right, and when she does that, Kyo sort of like is confused for a second, and then he turns a little bit, like, not quite as like nervously, but also as swift, and he sort of turns around and he holds her hand, and it's like time stops for a second. It's like Kyo used Zawado, like, just time stops for like a second, right? And he holds her hand and he says, like, is everything okay? And I'm thinking, like, oh my god. I'm not gonna lie. I may have like curled into a ball of emotional stress, because I was like, oh my god, this is adorable. I cannot. I am becoming white girl, because I literally cannot even. That killed me. That absolutely killed me. That whole scene, I probably used it as a screenshot. I'm going to be using it as a screenshot for this entire conversation, at least this part of the video, because oh my god, this scene is the best. I loved it. It healed my Kyoru shipping heart from all the past anxiety the show's been giving me the last few weeks. It was wild. And it's funny too, because Kyo immediately says, like, did you find, like, all the zodiacs that you were looking for? And Toru's like, how did you know that? And he's like, I mean, I just kind of figured. Toru's like, wow, yeah, I mean, I did. Like, there's still some stuff I gotta find, but yeah, wow, like, you knew already. He's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. And so he starts to walk away, and Kyo starts to walk away, and Tohru starts to follow after him. and she just says, like, he knows, like, everything he says, like, he knows what I'm gonna say before I say it. Everything he says makes me feel one way or the other. Kyo really is a mystery, is what Tohru ends this scene with, and oh my god, my ship and heart. I can't deal with this. I can't be dealing with these kinds of emotions right now. We then get like a quick sort of scene where we see the student council, and it's short stuff and Machi Mouse, and they say that they don't really want anything. You know, like they're just sort of like, nah, I'm good. I'm not really, like, we don't want anything from the trip because they're not going. They're not in the same year. But it's the usual chaos going on at the student council room, right? And Yuki, like, we hear Yuki's voiceover for this scene, right? Just basically saying, like, oh, you know, like, I was checking in to make sure they didn't need anything from Kyoto while we were gone, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then we see Sleepy Yuki, which is not something I was aware that I needed until I saw it. But Yuki basically just, like, oh, like, his eyes are open, but my boy is not awake quite yet. And the whole, like, all the dudes from class are like, oh my god, like, I've never seen this side of Yuki before. Like, the prince that was promised is sleepwalking? What is this? It's a really funny, just, again, another, like, really funny scene. I don't find this one as funny as the Uo Kyo scene, but it does work as well, you know, and it's funny the way that he's woken up, right? Because everybody's like, Yuki, like, you gotta wake up, man. Like, you're, like, walking into walls. Like, did you get a scar? Are you okay? Like, because Yuki literally is, like, straight up sleepwalking, like, bumping into walls at this point. They're like, oh, God, Yuki. And I think that part of the reason why I think they put the student council scene before is just to show, like, Yuki be losing sleep over these fools. Like, Yuki is running himself ragged a little bit. And, of course, the person to awaken him from his slumber is my boy Thief. In case you forgot, we call Kahuru Thief around these parts because he was stealing my gimmicks. But yeah, Kahuru shows up and wakes up Yuki by basically insulting him by saying, like, geez, you look like a sleeping princess, or whatever it was, something like that. And I don't know, I just thought it was great because Yuki's like, what did you say? Like, just, like, pinches his cheek, and he's like, you want to say that again? He's like, hey, I waked you up, jerk. Like, I was trying to help. And there's even, like, a slight argument afterwards. Like, Uo says, like, didn't you two get into it after that? And, or I think Tohru says that. Either Uo or Tohru says, like, didn't you two get into an argument? And Yuki just says, like, trust me, you don't got to worry about that boy. Like, he'll bounce back. He'll be just fine. Just give him space to breathe. Like, because I guess Kahuru was like, I woke you up. Like, why are you mad at me? Genuinely really funny scene. A lot of really funny scenes in this week's episode. In fact, speaking of funny, how about another one? The friggin' deer scene was hilarious because apparently the deers in Kyoto are apparently very docile. I didn't know this myself, but I've heard of this secondhand. Unfortunately, I've never left Canada in my entire life. But I am aware that the deer in Kyoto are pretty docile because people feed them all the time, right? So they're definitely, like, they're not afraid of humans, and I would love that. Yeah, the only reason I know that is because there's an episode of Game Grumps where they talk about the deers in Kyoto, and Aaron says, like, the reason why they're so chill is because you feed them, but if you don't feed them, they'll, like, headbutt you because they want your food. So it's like, oh, okay. I was kind of half expecting that to happen this week, or in this week's episode, but it did not. But what's particularly funny about this scene is the fact that Uo and Hana try to feed Kyo. Like, they're like, oh, okay, so like these animals can become docile if you feed them. All right, hey, come here, like to Kyo, and he's like, I'll actually kill you. Like, he just, like, I just love the, like, that's really funny, Yankee girl. Like, it's, I don't know, it's just perfect. Every time somebody calls Uo Yankee, I'm like, oh yeah, Uo Tani is a Yankee. I forget about that sometimes. It's hella funny. Like, I love that scene. Just like, come here. Like, I'll kill you. Like, it's literally that Vine of, like, I'll kill you. Not even worried about it. That's literally that scene. The only thing missing is the fact that they didn't scare Kyo. And it's also sweet too, because this scene sort of starts with or sort of ends with Yuki being asked if he needs any souvenirs by Tohru, right? Tohru's like, hey, did you want to stop anywhere, get some souvenirs, like, before we get back on the bus? And Yuki just says, like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm perfectly happy without souvenirs. Like, I'm perfectly content with the memories of today. And Tohru thinks that's good. And they have this really sweet little moment together where, like, they say, like, the memories will stay, like, bright and shiny or whatever it is in your memories. And that was really sweet. Like, I don't know why, but that scene was really sweet. Everything with Yuki and Tohru is so sweet. Because, again, it's not, like, I don't see it very romantic. To me, it's just two people who love each other. Like, it is love, but it's not that kind. You know what I mean? Like, it's just two people who are there for each other and need each other, and are, now that they've been together, you can't separate them. Just somebody who you can't be without. Like, that's that sort of thing. Like, now that they're in your life, you care about them. Even if you're separated, you still check in on them, and you care about them. And that's the vibe that I get from Yuki and Tohru. I'm sure everybody has that. That's sort of like that love for somebody where it's not romantic. You really, really enjoy that person's company, like being around them. It's that. But it's a little bit outshined by the deer scene, because them trying to feed Kyo was hilarious. But that friggin' scene is great. Yuki actually gets a significant amount of shine this week. And again, it's typically paired with Kahuru because, you know, our boy be on the trip as well. And Kahuru basically arrives once again to annoy Yuki, just to further emphasize that no, Kahuru wasn't actually mad at Yuki for, you know, yelling at him for waking him up. However, the two of them go to hang out for a bit, and they sit by this river. And Yuki finally, and I appreciate the fact that he finally calls him out on this, Yuki finally calls out Kahuru on his weird interest in Tohru. And I was legitimately concerned, right? Because this man says, like, and what if I said I was into her? Like, well, how would you react, right? And I was like, don't even go here, thief. Like, whenever I'm mad at Kahuru, I think I'm gonna call him Thief. Like, his nickname will only be used when I'm salty with him. But yeah, I was like, thief? Back off! You know what I was like, but again, my boy Kahuru is mainly doing this because he's trying to help Yuki, like, without making it very clear that he's trying to help Yuki, because he says, like, if I were to say that, what would you do about it? You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to say, like, if you like her, then do something about it. And this leaves Yuki to actually reflect Kyo onto Kahuru, right? Because he says, like, if you if she likes you and you like her, then that has nothing to do with me. But if you hurt her, I will never forgive you, and I will never be okay with that, ever, right? And you see Kyo when he says this, and it's like, damn, like, that's the roadblock now, is like, Yuki is so upset that Kyo is or could potentially hurt Tohru, right? And that bothers the shit out of Yuki, because, again, I don't think that this is a romantic thing. It's just Yuki saying, like, if you hurt her, I will kill you. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't say kill, but he says, like, I'll never forgive you. And he's saying this to Kahuru, but he's really, really saying it to Kyo. Like, Kahuru is the one he is speaking to, but it's not being said to him. You know what I mean? Like, and that kind of shocked me. Just because it's like, I guess I could have assumed that, but I never really thought about it like that. Like, that's part of the reason why he's so upset with Kyo these days, because it feels like Yuki's, like, even more aggro towards Kyo, whereas Kyo's a lot more chill towards Yuki than he used to be, excluding everything that happened during the beach arc. But it seems like Yuki's usually the one that's starting stuff now, as opposed to how it used to be, where Kyo would start. But yeah, so I was always like in the back of my head, right? Not something that I was constantly wondering about. But just in the back of my head, I'd occasionally be like, I wonder why Yuki be starting shit all the time now. And now we get our answer. It's because he's concerned about Tohru, because he knows that depending on what Kyo says, it hurts Tohru, and he doesn't like that, man. He doesn't appreciate that. And it's interesting, right? Because it's just a side of Yuki that I knew was there. It's just I don't know. It surprised me a little bit. And but to get back to the comedic side of the episode, when Kahuru says, like, oh yeah, and like, that's it, you just wouldn't forgive me, huh? And he's like, yep, and we wouldn't be friends. We're not friends. Like, if you do that, then we're not friends, right? And Kakuru's like, not friends? Right? And Yuki's like, oh my god, I sound like a 5th grader. I cannot believe I just said that. And he turns around, he's like, listen, I meant more like, but when he turns around, Kakeru's like, how could you? Like, how dare you say we would be friends? I was being hypothetical. Like, just like getting angry with him. Like, how could you say that to me? You were my friend. Like, just getting so angry. And Yuki's like, oh my God, that worked. Like, Jesus. It was really, really funny. And then you get our girl Furu showing up. And I feel bad. I shouldn't be calling Kimi Furu, but like she be Furu sometimes. Like just the way she looks. I don't know why. Like it's not all the time. It's not every shot, but some shots, I swear she's like a dead ringer for Tohru. And I'm like, damn it. Like this is when I saw her. I'm like, Furu. I mean Kimi. Dang it. Sorry. But yeah, Furu shows up to be like, what are you dudes talking about? And this man Kakeru is just like, Yuki said he wouldn't be my friend unless I showed him dirty videos. And Yuki's like, I did not say that. It was just so... I love Kakeru so much. Like, this freaking idiot. I love this man. This man was shady when we first met him, but I'm kind of all about him now. Yeah, this dude is ridiculous. And another thing, too, it's revealed in this scene that Kakeru has a girlfriend. That's surprising. Like, I don't know why that shocked the hell out of me, but I was like, wait, what? Like, he has a girlfriend? I thought Kimi was his girlfriend. Like, I genuinely this whole time thought him and Furu were like a thing. But apparently not. I was like, Thief and Furu aren't a thing? I just assumed that they were. I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of shocked. But as the two of them are laughing, right? Like, Thief and Furu are having a laugh about the whole thing. And Yuki's smiling. He's not, like, quite laughing, but he's smiling. And he says that it's nice to have somebody who's open about how they feel about you. And it's Yuki coming to grips with the fact that he likes Kakeru's honesty, and I think he wants to start reflecting that in himself. You know, like he wants to be brave enough to just tell people how they feel about, how he feels about them. And like the fact that he was just like, what do you mean we're not friends? Like, you know what I mean? Like just the fact that he immediately snaps like, yes, we're friends. What are you talking about? Like, Yuki admires that about Kakeru, and we've talked about that before, especially in the episode, a few episodes back, where Kakeru had his whole, like, freak-out moment where he kicked the potted plants, and no, I haven't forgiven him for that yet. I mean, I have, but, like, I haven't, like, kind of. But that whole scene, right, where he like, admits how he feels, like, we talked about the fact that Yuki probably admires a lot of Kakeru's personality traits, because a lot of that is what Yuki wishes he could be, you know? And there's this line that Yuki says when he's thinking about that honesty, and he says, when I look back on myself from this time, I want it to tickle my heart. And that, A, is the cutest way you could have talked about nostalgia, and B, that tickled my heart, Yuki. Like, that warmed my heart. That was so damn charming. I don't even know what to say. It was so damn cute. That whole scene is great because like the two like Furu and Thief over here, Kakeru and Kimi are laughing it up. Yuki's smiling. The maple leaves are blowing in the breeze. Yuki reaches his hand up to wave at Tohru, who's standing on the bridge with Kyo and Uo and Hana and the other two classmates, and they wave back. And there's this like really pretty music, and Yuki reaches up and he grabs a maple leaf and he picks it like right out of the air. And this is where I talk about some maple leaf symbolism that I didn't know about. So apparently, in Japan, there are some metaphors attached to maple leaves, and I'm like, as a Canadian, you'd think I would know about every maple leaf metaphor, but I did not. So I found out two that actually really perfectly reflect this episode. The one being scatter autumn leaves, which basically means, like, if you scatter autumn leaves, it means, like, you're red-faced with embarrassment. You know, like, you're embarrassed to the point where your face goes red. You've scattered autumn leaves. But the other one, and more important, in my opinion, is like maple leaves and a deer, which basically means two things that make a really great pair. And first of all, thanks to the website that I got that from. I forgot which website it is. I didn't write it down. Whoops. But that is so perfectly fitting for this episode. An episode that is so heavily emphasizing pairs, right? Like everybody has a pair that they're with, whether that's the two classmates, whether that's Kimi and Kakeru, whether that's Yuki and Tohru, whether that's Yuki or whether that's Kyo and Tohru, whether that's Yuki Tohru, whether that's Yuki Kakeru, it doesn't matter. Like everybody has somebody that they're a perfect pair with. Like everybody has somebody in this episode that they are paired with. The whole episode was talking about pairings and people like becoming couples and going off and stuff. Even for people who aren't even there, like like Uo and Kureno. It's like all these, like this whole episode is just a series of couples, and very interesting to me. And now I'm starting to see why people are like, that Machi Mouse nickname is very on point. And I was like, that's weird. But okay, I wonder what that's supposed to mean. And now I'm like, oh, I see you, Machi and Yuki. I see you. Now, I think I've said this in a video before, but I did kind of like low-key ship it. I'm like, are they into each other? I can't quite tell. But this scene, I was like, oh, that cements it. I'm here for it. I don't know why I'm here for it, but I'm here for it. In fact, I definitely did, because I remember saying that if Yuki could pull Machi Mouse out of her shell the way that Tohru did for him, but then they develop like a relationship out of that, that'd be cute as shit. I'm almost positive I said that in a video, and I'm re-emphasizing that here. And I did see a lot of people, when I named her Machi Mouse, right? Like, even before I had any inklings of a ship, I was like, I'm gonna name her Machi Mouse, because MM, and she was like scurrying around through the files like a mouse, right? So Machi Mouse. People are like, you have no idea how accurate that nickname is. And I was like, okay, now I get it. Like, oh my God, I ship it like FedEx, man. Like, when he hands her the leaf and she holds it up the same way that he caught it, like, oh snap. And the fact that it's the maple leaf, and it's like the idea that like maple leaves and a deer, they were in Kyoto where all the deers were. They're a great pair. Like very, and then like scatter autumn leaves. She's embarrassed because he gave her like he thought of her and gave her something. They even went out of their way to go back to the school to make sure that she got it right away. That he gave her the maple leaf right away. Yuki, my boy. Oh my God, my boy's growing up. My boy's growing up. Look at him. Look at him. Look at her. Look at Machi Mouse coming out of her shell. I'm so proud. Like it's so great. But speaking of being proud, we gotta end this video. We gotta talk about Tohru's souvenirs. Tohru got to work right away. Like in the same way that Yuki right away went to the school when they got back from Kyoto, Tohru went to work right away working on the souvenirs. And this was interesting, right? Because I'm like, working on souvenirs, like I guess she means like she has to paint them, like maybe they're unpainted, like maybe they're like gunpla, where like you have to paint them in. And I felt stupid because I didn't understand what she meant by that, and what she meant earlier. Because earlier in the episode, Tohru mentions that she has to get some clay for something. And I was like, clay, that's weird. And then when Kyo comes to grab her, Tohru has all the figurines, and she has straight up sculpted the cat Zodiac out of clay. And aww. Like that was like, that is the cutest damn thing. And it just, and I love the fact that they even add in the line like that, like, cause Tohru says like, I haven't finished coloring it in yet. And Kyo's like, that's, like, Kyo doesn't say it, but he smiles, and then the ED starts to play, like, really softly, and you hear, add color, and they will shine. And then the ED kicks in, and I was like, add color? My boy, you talking to the right person right now. Like, that was so perfect. I love the add color, and it will shine, especially since the Fruits Basket community's been talking a hell of a lot about symbolism and color lately. And I should actually shout out John and Allie from Thought Bubble, who did an entire video on like the ED and the symbolism in the ED, what the flowers mean, what the colors mean. You guys should really check out Thought Bubble. Like they do top-notch work. Also, there's a few Fruits Basket people that you should be watching if you're not. Like maybe not specifically Fruits Basket people. Like Thought Bubble covers other stuff outside of Fruits Basket. And I'm also thinking of other creators like my buddy Sun or Flora Red. I should maybe leave them in the pinned comment, because you should check out their videos. Like all three of those people, Thought Bubble, Flora Red, Sun Wukong, they all talk about stuff like outside of Fruits Basket, but they specifically make Fruits Basket videos or reactions, and they're really, really solid. Like really, really solid. And I can't emphasize enough that everybody be talking about symbolisms and colors and shit. Like, so it like the fact that they actually straight up shout out like add color and they'll shine. It's like TMS is like, we see you, you freaks for color symbolism. We see you. I appreciated that. But yeah, quick question before we end today's video though. Why is next week called, like, Wanna Kiss? Why is it called that? What's gonna happen? Now I'm concerned. I can't tell if I'm concerned or excited. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You should definitely check out I'm gonna make sure that I pin it in the comments. If not, somebody pester me about it. I want to shout out those three in particular: Sun, Flora, and Thought Bubble, because everybody be doing their damnedest, and it's good stuff. So yeah, check them out. I'll leave the pinned comment. But on that note, everybody, if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big thank you to the good folks in the Tea Squadron. Look at all these beautiful people. Look at these beautiful, beautiful folks. And if you too would like to join these beautiful people in the Tea Squadron, then be sure to check out that first link in the description. Check out our Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, just a single $1, you can help keep this channel afloat, and I would sincerely appreciate it. But with that said, everybody, I am going to go edit this video. I swear I tried to make this one brief since this episode was a lot more chill, but here I am, rambling, talking too much. It do be like that sometimes. In fact, on this channel, it do be like that all the time. But until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.